In 1971, the U.S. stopped backing its money with gold. The dollar became the most powerful currency in the world. But today, something strange is happening. Countries are buying gold, lots of it. Why? And what does that mean for your money, your future, and the world economy? In a quiet underground vault in London, hidden beneath thick steel doors, lies one of the largest gold reserves in the world. Thousands of solid gold bars, stacked carefully, sit there silently, heavy, cold, and waiting. They've been there for years, untouched, unmoved. But today, the world is starting to pay attention to gold again. Why? In the age of smartphones, Bitcoin, online banking, and credit cards, why would nations care about something as old-fashioned as gold? We don't use gold to buy coffee. We don't get paid in gold coins. Our salaries arrive in bank accounts, in numbers on screens. And yet, governments around the world are buying gold like never before. In 2022 and 2023, central banks bought more gold than in any year since 1967. China, Russia, Turkey, India, Brazil. These nations are quietly increasing their gold reserves. Behind the headlines, a silent financial shift is taking place. But why now? And what does it mean? To understand this moment, we need to go back, not just a few years, but thousands. Gold has always meant power. In every ancient civilization, from Egypt to Rome, from the Aztecs to the Chinese dynasties, gold was treasure, glory, and security. Kings went to war for it. Empires collapsed because of it. And while the world has changed, gold hasn't. It's still rare, still beautiful, still trusted. For centuries, gold wasn't just a symbol of wealth. It was money itself. In markets, across the world, people used gold coins to buy food, clothes, land, and freedom. If you had gold, you had value. Simple. But gold is heavy. It's not easy to carry or divide. And as trade expanded between cities, nations, and continents, something new was needed. Paper money. But early paper wasn't just printed from nothing. It was backed by gold. A banknote promised, this piece of paper can be exchanged for real gold. That promise made paper money trustworthy. Then came the gold standard. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, major countries agreed their money would be tied to gold at a fixed rate. $1 US, for example, was worth about 1/35 of an ounce of gold. This system created stability. People believed in money because it was backed by something real. Countries could trade more easily. It was a golden age, literally. But war changes everything. World War I, and then World War II forced governments to spend more than ever. To fund battles and recover economies, countries printed money faster than they could collect gold. The link between paper and metal began to break. By the end of World War II, the world needed a new system. In 1944, at a place called Bretton Woods in the United States, leaders from 44 nations met to design the post-war financial order. They decided the US dollar would become the center of the new system. Other currencies would be linked to the dollar, and the dollar would still be linked to gold. Only the United States would promise to exchange dollars for gold at a rate of $35 per ounce. Why the dollar? Because after the war, the U.S. had the strongest economy, the largest gold reserves, and the most stable government. Trust was high. The dollar became the anchor of the global economy. But anchors can drift. In the 1960s, the U.S. faced growing financial pressure. It was spending heavily on the Vietnam War and new social programs at home. At the same time, other countries were becoming stronger and were collecting more dollars through trade. Nations, like France and West Germany, began to worry. Were all these dollars really backed by gold? They started asking for their gold back. Suddenly, gold began flowing out of the U.S. Treasury. There was panic behind closed doors. Could the U.S. run out of gold? Could the system collapse? In 1971, President Richard Nixon took a dramatic step. He ended the convertibility of the dollar into gold. From that day forward, dollars could no longer be exchanged for gold. The world shifted overnight from the gold standard to a system of fiat money, money that has value only because people believe it does not. It was called the Nixon shock, and it truly shocked the world, but the system held. People still trusted. The U.S. economy. Trade continued. The dollar remained dominant. Oil was priced in dollars. Global reserves were held in dollars. The age of the petrodollar had begun, and for decades it worked. But trust, once shaken, never fully returns. Over the years, countries began to question the power of the U.S. dollar. Why should one nation control the world's money? Why should the savings of other countries depend on American interest rates or political decisions? Then came 2008. The global financial crisis shook confidence. Big banks failed. Trillions were lost. The U.S. printed massive amounts of new dollars, a strategy called quantitative easing to rescue the economy. It worked, but some countries started to worry again. If the U.S. can print as much as it wants, what protects the value of the dollar? Fast forward to 2014. Russia annexed Crimea. In response, the U.S. and its allies imposed harsh sanctions. Russian assets were frozen. Banks were cut off from international systems. It was a financial weapon. And it worked, but it also scared others. If the U.S. can freeze a nation's reserves, what happens if you're next? That's when something changed. Russia began buying gold, a lot of it. So did China. So did Turkey. So did India. Quietly, steadily, year after year, these countries started shifting part of their reserves away from the dollar and into gold. Gold doesn't depend on trust. It doesn't require a bank. It can't be frozen by sanctions. It's just ... gold ... in 2022 alone. Central banks bought over 1,100 metric tons of gold, the most in more than 50 years. And most of that buying came from countries that want to reduce their reliance on the dollar. China has officially reported increases in its gold reserves, but many experts believe it holds even more off the books. Russia's central bank has doubled its gold holdings since 2014. Turkey, Argentina, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and others have followed the same path. But why now? The world is changing. New alliances are forming. The BRICS group, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, is openly discussing creating a new currency. Some believe it could be backed by gold or other real assets. The goal is clear: reduce the dominance of the dollar in global trade. Asterisk, it's not just about money. It's about sovereignty, control, independence. Using dollars means playing by American rules. Rules that can change. Rules that can hurt. For many nations, Building gold reserves is a way to prepare for a different future, one where trade is more local, more digital, and less dollar-centered. But is gold really the answer? Gold has strengths. It's durable, rare, and trusted, but it also has limits. It doesn't pay interest. It's hard to transport. It can't be used directly for online transactions. You can't send gold over an app. So what is happening? This isn't a return to the old gold standard. This is something new. A hybrid world where countries still use dollars, euros, and yuan, but also protect themselves with gold. It's like wearing a seatbelt. You hope you don't need it, but if there's a crash, it could save you. For the average person, this gold rush might feel distant, but it's not. If trust in the dollar continues to fall, it could mean inflation, rising prices, higher interest rates, and less global stability. If major countries stop using the dollar for trade, demand for dollars drops. And when demand drops, so does value. We're not there yet. The US dollar still represents over 58% of global reserves. It's used in almost 90% of currency exchanges. It's still king. But kingdoms fall slowly and silently. What we're seeing now is not panic. It's preparation, a quiet shift, a rebalancing. Nations are watching, planning, and buying. Buying gold. Because gold is more than metal. It's history. It's memory. It's insurance against uncertainty. And perhaps, more than anything, gold is a message that trust is fragile, that power is temporary, and that in a world full of promises, sometimes it's better to hold something real. So next time you see a simple gold coin, remember, it may look old, but its role in the world is not over. Maybe, just maybe, its story is starting again.